Shabbat Shalom. I am Rabbi Lauren Werber with Congregation Beth Adam in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm so glad that you have joined us this evening to welcome Shabbat together. I hope you enjoy our service, which we bring to you from a humanistic perspective, mostly using liturgy that we have written ourselves at Beth Adam. We begin with a reflection. Put away the pencil and paper. Set aside the tablet and phone. Put away the notebook and keys. Set aside the shovel and hammer. Rest. For this interval, no buying, no selling, no working, no laboring, no straining, not living in the past, not planning for the future. This is a time for celebration, for joy, for mirth. We are here, alive, to rejoice in another Sabbath, another opportunity to be together in this way, grateful for our family and friends. With no distractions, we touch and are touched, the great gift of Shabbat. This is the challenge of Shabbat, that even when times are trying, even when life may be difficult individually or as a group, even in those times, especially in those times, we stop, we pause, we show gratitude, we feel gratitude, we celebrate community, we celebrate the wonders around us. We recognize how good it is to be together with those we love in person, to be together with those with whom we share something special through our services or through other means online. Hine Matov, how good it is for us to be together.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
We continue now with our preparation to light the Shabbat candles. Night seeps up from the ground. Light falls from the stars, distant, icy, ancient beyond all who came before. But the light of the Sabbath is warm. The light of the Sabbath is ours. The light of the Sabbath is of this time, of this place, of lives that know the past only in a dream. As we kindle these lights, we create a place of warmth. As we kindle these lights, we welcome this time for reflection. As we kindle these lights, we stake our claim. And while these candles burn, this time is ours. Baruch ha'or ba'olam. Blessed is the light within the world. Baruch ha'or ba'adam. Blessed is the light within each person. Baruch ha'or ba'Shabbat. Blessed is the light of Shabbat. May we discover the ability to feel the pain of others, work for others, among others, and there come to feel a part of that to which we belong. May we discover the ability to be alone so that we can go out of doors each day among the flowers and trees, among the birds and all that live beneath the sky of stars and planets, and there come to feel a part of that to which we belong. May we discover the ability to sit in silence so that we may hear not the voices of others, but our own voices, the beat of our hearts, the sound of our breath, the utterance of our soul, and here come to feel a part of that to which we belong. And may we discover the ability to slow down, to stop, to appreciate, to reflect and rejuvenate. May we discover the serenity, the peace, the love that is Shabbat. And here come to feel a part of that to which we belong. This song is called Eternity Utters a Day. It is a celebration of that feeling of Shabbat descending upon us.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day. Eternity utters a day. Lie, 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 lie.
For those of you who are local in Cincinnati, you may know that one of the things we've been doing at Beth Adam is to be placing some books in a spot in our lobby. And these books are related to a theme for the month. Last month, we celebrated American Heritage Month, largely with cookbooks and with memoirs from Jewish communities throughout the world. And we've transitioned this month to a celebration of pride. So we have several books at our congregation now on display related to LGBTQ topics and Judaism as they come together. For those of you who are online only, although you don't have those books available to you, you do have a lot of Beth Adam available to you, and you can visit our website to learn how you can be involved in our adult education and some of our other programming. But anyway, we have these books for Pride, and some of them are books I ordered because I was interested in them. I've been reading one of them. It's called A Rainbow Thread, and you can see a lot of Post-its on it because I'm reading it. It's an anthology of queer Jewish texts from the 1st century to 1969. So from the 1st century CE all the way to 1969. With a foreword by Judith Plaskow and edited by Noam Sienna. I want to share a few of the writings from this book as our sort of discussion, sermon, story time in this service, and as a way for primary sources to speak for themselves about pride and about what it means, what it meant, and what it might mean for us, and how it has been part of Jewish life for a long time. First, I want to just read some of the titles of what some of these writings are, and then I'm going to pick just a few to read for you. So as I said, they go all the way back to the 1st century, where we have Philo condemning unnatural pleasures in Alexandria, where we have a rabbinic discussion of gender, talking about the androgynos. This is something that comes up throughout the Talmud. And it's actually really interesting that the Talmud, written second to sixth century about, recognizes multiple genders, 6 to 8, depending how you define it, and recognizes people who don't clearly fit into one category, and doesn't spend a whole lot of time talking about whether that's right or wrong. It seems to just accept it, but talks about what it means in terms of religious obligation. So some of these writings are talking about these different types of genders that go beyond the understanding that has existed for so many years in our culture of two genders. We have a midrash asking what was Adam's sex from the 5th century. If we continue, I could give you a lot of poetry from throughout all of the centuries. A rabbi ruling in the 13th century on sexual behavior between boys. And this comes up in a lot of different letters, actually, where communities get up in arms, and sometimes the rabbi's decision is very, very lenient, in fact. The other thing to remember is, as we have a lot of things, we have an execution for sodomy in 1403. Sadly, we have rabbis lamenting the situation in communities where they see a lot of sexual exploration, not only within the gay and lesbian realm, but including, and they talk about that. Something to remember is that rules are only written because they are needed, right? So if we have laws saying not to do something, it's because people are doing it. We don't need a law that says don't steal if people aren't stealing. You wouldn't think to write that law. And if we have laws saying to do something, it's because people are not doing that thing, right? So the fact that there are so many writings says that these behaviors are happening throughout the centuries. We have letters and explanations of people being punished for homosexual behavior, and we have times when people are, as I said, being pardoned for it. I'm going to jump. You get the idea. We also have a lot of midrashim, stories about the Torah, where there's a question about the gender, before we go on, where there's a question about the gender of different individuals, or where they're imagined differently from how the Torah presents them. So this imagination is happening early on, and showing that we have this wide breadth of understanding of gender and sexuality, sometimes more accepted, sometimes less accepted. I just picked a few that for different reasons were meaningful to me that I thought I'd share with you. The first one comes from 12th century Spain, and I chose it because the poet is a man named Yehuda Halevi, or sometimes you'll hear Judah Halevi. He is one of the most prominent poets that we hear about, and he's used in all circles of Judaism, all types of Judaism, often his words. So this is his poem from, as I said, the 12th century. And it's the first one. I'm just going to read 4 lines. And what's important to realize is it's an adaptation of an Arabic poem by an Iraqi poet. And the original one is written from a man to a young woman. So the fact that this is a man to a man is a very intentional switching of the gender for the poem. As I said, just 4 lines. Here it is. Once, when I fondled him upon my thighs, he caught his own reflection in my eyes and kissed my eyes, deceitful imp. I knew it was his image he kissed and not my eyes. This is a second poem by Yehuda Halevi, and I'm just going to read a few extra. I'm going to skip a part in the middle. The one thing you need to know here, because he's going to refer to manna. Manna was in the biblical story of the Exodus. Manna is the food that God gives to the Israelites in the wilderness. It's understood to be some sort of bread that falls from the heavens, and it gives sustenance to the Israelites. So here it is. O you, my gazelle, O you, my Lord, may my grief be dear in your eyes, lest my ruin too soon come upon me. Soft, soft, soft with my soul, for my welfare is held in your hands. May your heart be soft for the wretch who fasts and who weeps from your rage, who awaits your desire as his manna. Sate me with manna and pay me my due every day. We'll skip a little bit. His sweet song will split my own sorrows, and his voice will arouse my bright flame. My dear, kiss my lips, and so be sufficed. Kiss, kiss, kiss my two lips. Spurn the black of your woe, my true love. These are remarkable as 12th century poems, and they're remarkable in that they're written by someone who, as I said, is so esteemed in the modern Jewish world. This next one comes from 1323 in France, in southern France, and it's by Colonimus ben Colonimus. The Colonimus family has some centuries of renown as well. This one is strange, and I wanted to share it too because it's kind of funny, and it's not clear whether this was written as satire, as parody, if it was written sarcastically, or if it was written seriously, or maybe some of each. We just don't know. The speaker speaks for a long time about being dissatisfied with being a man and wishing, then talks about wishing to be a woman, and will quote miracles according to the Torah as interpreted through stories, through biblical stories, right? So he'll say all these times when God worked miracles, some you'll recognize, some you won't from these stories, and says, why not me, essentially? Why can't there be a miracle of changing me to a woman? And then he settles in on accepting his suffering and his fate with endurance and dignity. Again, we don't know in what spirit this was written. Also, it refers to the morning blessing, and it may be a reaction to this terrible line in a morning blessing. Traditionally, in the morning, men will say a prayer that includes the words, "Blessed are you, God, who has not made me a woman." Okay, blessed are you, God, who has not made me a woman. And we'll hear that in here as well. So here it is from Colonimus ben Colonimus, 1323. What an awful fate for my mother that she bore a son. What a loss of all benefit. Cursed be the one who announced to my father, it's a boy. Woe to him who has male sons. Upon them a heavy yoke has been placed, restrictions and constraints. He goes on to talk about all the religious commandments that men are obligated to. And then we have, oh, but had the artisan who made me created me instead a fair woman? Today I would be wise and insightful. We would weave, my friends and I, and in the moonlight spin our yarn and tell our stories to one another from dusk till midnight. He talks about the silly stories they'll tell, but how there's wisdom in it and how happy they'd be about cooking and how making different dishes. And then he says, and when I was ready and the time was right, an excellent youth would be my fortune. He would love me, place me on a pedestal, dress me in jewels of gold, earrings, bracelets, and necklaces. And on the appointed day, in the season of joy when brides are wed, for 7 days would the boy increase my delight and gladness. He then talks about how he would be cared for by his new spouse. And then we have this. Father in heaven, who did miracles for our ancestors with fire and water, you changed the fire of the Chaldees so it would not burn hot. You changed Dinah in the womb of her mother to a girl. You changed the staff to a snake before a million eyes. You changed Moses' hand to leprous white and the sea to dry land. In the desert, you turned rock to water, hard flint to a fountain. Who would then turn me from a man to a woman? Were I only to have merited this, being so graced by goodness, what shall I say? Why cry or be bitter? If my Father in heaven has decreed upon me and has maimed me with an immutable deformity, then I do not wish to remove it. And the sorrow of the impossible is a human pain that nothing will cure and for which no comfort can be found. So I will bear and suffer until I die and wither in the ground. And since I have learned from our tradition that we bless both the good and the bitter, I will bless in a voice hushed and weak. Blessed are you, O Lord, who has not made me a woman. Jump along. I think we'll do two more. Both, I think, fairly remarkable. This one's remarkable because it's Emma Lazarus. You know Emma Lazarus because she is the poet of the New Colossus, written in 1883 and inscribed on the base of the Statue of Liberty in 1903, right? We know, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free, from Emma Lazarus. She wrote this piece in 1876, and I'm including it. It was included in this book because she was a very proud secularist Jew and always claimed that Jewish identity. Not much is known about her romantic life, and she died very young. But she wrote this poem in 1876. It's called Dolores, and I'm just going to read a little bit of it, skip a little bit. A light, and she's imagining, as you'll see, she's imagining a wedding at the beginning of this. A light at her feet and a light at her head. How fast asleep my Dolores lies. Awaken my love, for tomorrow we wed. Uplift the lids of thy beautiful eyes. I'm going to skip quite a bit. And she says, I knew not her secret, though she held mine. In that golden hour did we confess. And her low voice murmured, yea, I am thine. And the large rolled ring with happiness. Tomorrow shall be the blessedest day that ever the all-seeing sun espied. Though thou sleep till the morning's earliest ray, yet then thou must awake to be my bride. Yea, waken, my love, for tomorrow we wed. Uplift the lids of thy beautiful eyes, a light at her feet and a light at her head. How fast asleep my Dolores lies. This is the last one I want to share, and I know I'm probably talking a little longer than usual tonight, but I find this perhaps the most remarkable. This is from 1936 in New York, and it needs a little bit of background. It's not a poem. So what happened here is it's 1936, and the Summer Olympics are being held in Berlin, right? And there were stories of female athletes in Europe and in the United States transitioning to being men. Okay, so this is covered in both the Jewish and non-Jewish press around this time, that there's these women becoming men, and it's being treated as a new phenomenon. So there's a man who's a 6-year-old man named Yeshaya Katofsky, or he then went by Samuel, and he was a grocer living in Brooklyn, New York, but he immigrated in 1902 from the Ukraine, from a shtetl in the Ukraine. I told you needed background, right? So we have the stories floating around in the United States, and then we have this man who came to the United States from Ukraine. And he writes a letter to the editor of the Jewish Daily Forward, which is a very prominent Jewish paper at the time. And what he wants to say is, we're acting like this story about women becoming men is new. It's not new. Let me tell you what happened in my shtetl. If we have the timing right, if we trust his timing, then this transition that he's going to talk about happened in the last decade of the 19th century, in the 1890s, which is before, 10 or 15 years before the first research we know about, which comes from German doctors on transitioning and gender transition. So it's pretty remarkable. What's also remarkable is what you're going to hear is the attitude taken to it, right? So this was written in 1936. It's called At the Age of 23, the Girl Became a Boy. Okay. Worthy editor of the foreword. Not long ago, I read a story in the foreword that took place in America about how a girl became a man. But that's not news to the people in the town where I'm from. Permit me to tell the story in your paper. In our shtetl of Kryvyi, Ukraine, everyone knew Bela, the girl who sold herring, geese, and other foodstuffs. She was a tall redhead and sturdily built. She also spoke with a deep bass voice and walked about with hard and heavy steps. The way she carried herself always brought forth an uncertain feeling, something like, she's not quite a woman, but also not quite a man. When she was still a child, her father would often take her to see the Tolner Rebbe, Reb Dovidel, and sometimes to the Sadigura Rebbe to ask for help. So he's going to his rabbi for help, right? The only answer he ever got was, God will help. God will help. The father would return home anguished and unhappy. In the meantime, the years flew by, and Bela grew too until she reached the age of 23. One fine morning, Bela left for Odessa, where she was introduced to an important professor. She spent a long time under his care, under which Bela eventually became a man. The story was well known and was in all the papers. All Russia talked about it. In the shtetl, we waited impatiently for her return. And on the day when Bela was to arrive, half the shtetl ran to the bridge to greet her, or better said, to greet him. And she wasn't called Bela anymore. Now she was Beryl, which was a man's name. Now she was Beryl. And when we saw her, in quotes, it was as if we were stunned. Before our eyes was a handsome, healthy, red-headed man. Anyone who didn't know Bela previously would never have known that he had been a girl. From then on in the shtetl, she was called Beryl Bela. With the help of the professor, the government freed him from military service. Beryl Bela soon learned to daven and was in synagogue every day. In other words, Beryl learned to pray the men's parts in a traditional service, to do what the men did, and was there in synagogue every day with the men. Later on, he got married to an old girlfriend, Rachel, who was a nice girl. In our shtetl, Beryl Bela always had a good name as a fine, upstanding Jew. So that letter is published in 1936, talking about the 1890s and saying how this person who transitioned, we don't know what it meant, exactly what it meant or what happened in Odessa, but we know that this person, as everybody understood it, transitioned in some way from a woman to a man and came back to be fully accepted as a man. If that's not hopeful, if it's not instructive, I don't know what would be, right? So with that in mind, we go back to the idea that this is Pride Month. And my hope is for all of us that we can celebrate all identities, respect all identities, embrace all identities, both of others in the world, but also all the pieces of our own identities, that we can find that pride, that acceptance, that celebration that the man in the Ukraine writes about for all of us and for all of those we love. We turn now to remembering those we have loved and that we have lost and who have taught us something about how we live our lives. These are words by Rich Orloff, a reflection called A Prayer to Cultivate Remembering. Let remembering always be an active verb, not just reminiscing, not just recalling, but letting the lives of those who came before us provide gifts that guide us in times of need. Let us learn from the lessons of our ancestors, but never twist them for our own purposes. Let us acknowledge our origin stories, but never be limited by them. Like a tree that sprouts from a seed, let remembering be an act of growth. Like a flower that blooms, let remembering be an act of expansion. If our ancestors were generous, let us find opportunities to follow their example. And if they were not, let us not be restricted by their wounds. If they were courageous, let their courage inspire us into action. And if they were not, let us forgive them. If they were sweet, let their sweetness bathe us in times of sorrow. And if they were lacking, let us not take joy in judgment. Let remembering serve both us and our ancestors and transform us into a bridge extending blessings from those who came before us to 1,000 generations to come. Ein bidei hamavet hakoach la'kor ma shetamun balev. Death cannot take that which is locked in our hearts. With our tears, in our sorrow, we remember. With our courage and our strength, we do not forget. Acts of kindness, deeds of courage will remain. Beauty created, wisdom shared is not lost. With our tears, in our sorrow, we remember. Im dema'ot beinenu be'etev leinu, nishmor al zecher ahubenu. With our tears, in our sorrow, we remember. Zecher tzadik livracha. May the memory of good people bless our days. We turn to our symbol of joy in the celebration of Shabbat, even as we mourn for those who came before us. We lift this cup of wine together as a tribute to our past, as a blessing for our future. May the allure of its untold flavors beckon us forever to keep uncovering new branches, new roots that hold us together. Tonight, as we welcome Shabbat, may we find time to spend in our own quiet company and listen to the calling of our hearts. Bruchim hachayim ba'olam, blessed is the life within the world. Bruchim hachayim ba'adam, blessed is the life within us. Na'aseh shalom ba'olam. Let us make peace in the world. Let us make peace for ourselves and for all people.
Na'aseh shalom ba'olam. Na'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Imaru shalom. Na'aseh shalom. Na'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Na'aseh shalom. Na'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Na'aseh shalom. Na'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Na'aseh shalom. Na'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Na'aseh shalom. say shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam.
As our time draws to a close, we offer our final benediction. May we know blessings those who are near. May we know blessings those who are far. May the Sabbath bring its goodness to everyone soon, wherever you are. May we know blessings through the day. May we know blessings through the night. May health be for our children. All things soon be right. May we know blessings in our comings. May we know blessings when we depart. May we live each day with peace and wisdom in each heart. On this Shabbat, may we find pride in who we are. May we find pride in the identities of those around us. May we find the peacefulness and the gratitude and the sense of wonder and hope and awe that are Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.